It's me. Yeah. Well, 2 seconds. Yeah, diary when a kid, your vaccination site. I'm gonna call you. Oh, goodness gracious.
Good evening. Today is April the 20th, 2021. Our thought for today is kindness is the language that deaf can hear and the blind can see. I'm going to go ahead and officially call this meeting to order tonight. Tonight I'm going to ask if Commissioner Mason, if you would lead us in our invocation, and Commissioner Henderson, if you would lead us in our pledge tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let us all bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us back to this boardroom one more time. We thank you for all the things that have been done and all the things that are about to do. God, we come giving you praise, glory, and honor for just Newton County and the citizens that care, and the staff and the board that truly care about this community and this city. We thank you for bringing us back together one more time as we do the business of Newton County. We ask that as we move forward in this agenda, that it will be productive and it will be edifying in your sight. And we give you all the kingdom, honor, and glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Commissioners, you had an opportunity to look at the agenda. I seek a motion that we approve, please.
So move.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Our next on the agenda is citizen comments. This is an opportunity that we let citizens come up and make comments about agenda topics only. Agenda topics only. You may come at this time. You have 3 minutes to do so. Please state your name, your address for the record, please. Agenda topics only. Thank you. Next, we have the chairman's report. I'm going to bring Mr. Brian Fazio up. Sir, if you want to give us an update on all that is going on, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yes, Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for having me. I know it's weird being on this side, but I want to talk about the bicentennial events that are still going on. This is still, I know time's flying, but we're in May, so this is still our 200th anniversary. And the Bicentennial Committee has a few things going on this weekend. We are going to start off Friday with another movie that has been filmed in Newton County. This time we are reaching to the family, the younger kids, with Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I know that's a hit with a lot of the children, and it was filmed in Newton County. We are showing that Friday at 7 o'clock at Legion Field. It's free. It's a movie under the stars. Drive in, watch from your vehicle, get some blankets, some chairs, sit outside of Legion Field. We'll be supplying some popcorn, some cotton candy, and just be a good family event. Again, that's Friday at 7 o'clock at Legion Field, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And then the following day, we'll be starting our days of service out in District 1 with Commissioner Stan Edwards. There will be a cleanup for District 1. We are meeting at sometime before I get up, with 8 o'clock at Alcovey High School. And then that'll be our first one. We're going to go in district order. We're going to follow in May in District 2 and go on. So that's what we have going on as far as the bicentennial. We're committee's still meeting frequently, every week, every other week, depending on the week. Just trying to get the word out there, Newton County Bicentennial. We thank all the commissioners for assisting us and making an appearance at these events and putting together these service days. That's what we have.
Thank you, sir. Brian, you want to give us a quick update on the Vaccination Center?
Yes, this week, thanks to the efforts of Chairman Baines, the Gwinnett Newton Rockdale Health Department, and Georgia Perimeter Technical College, Newton County has its mass vaccination site located at GPTC. It started Monday. Registration opened, as you were aware, last Thursday. That's for anyone to register, but we of course encourage Newton County citizens to register for the vaccine through the health department website. It's on our website and Facebook, the link, but it's through the health department, their vaccine scheduler. They can do up to 600 vaccines a day here. They're open Monday through Wednesday, I think 9 to 5 here. And it's going well from what I understand. The first day, I think they had full bookings. If not, they were cranking out hundreds of people. So please encourage your citizens your constituents to sign up to the health department and get their vaccine, however they can, go from there.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The question I have is that I was looking at Channel 2 News, and it said that Newton County, we had one of the lowest vaccination, rates in the state of Georgia. So are we going to put it up? And I personally, I've talked about it just a little bit. Could we put it up and just have it so people can just walk in and take it? Because I don't know how full it has been. I probably need to take a tour of it, but so we can walk in and try to get that number up. Rockdale had about 16%, which is better than ours, a little bit better than ours, but ours around about 12%. I think that number need to go up as far as putting the shots in people's arms.
Yeah, I spoke with Dr. Rowan in the Health Department this week. They're still utilizing the registration system for a number of reasons. One, to make sure they have enough vaccines on site, because as you know, they have to stay refrigerated and all that. And two, I think to help with the, obviously, staffing levels and the spacing to keep the social distancing. I mean, we're still in the middle of a pandemic, so I know social distancing is still something we're all told all the time. So yeah, I know that that's why they're still utilizing the registration system through the health department.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, County Manager report, Mr. Kerr.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Got a couple of slides to show you tonight. Brian, if you can bring that first one. Brian, if you can bring that first one up, please. Okay. The next slide, please, for new hires. We've had 11 new hires this month and 10 separations. And then this is a recap of the building permits issued. The primary commercial, we've only had one, but primary residential, we issued 89 permits. So as I mentioned earlier, we're on track to issue this year probably in the neighborhood of 800 or 900 single-family home permits. So still business is good here in Newton County for real estate. Next slide, please, is recaps the work orders by district. 2017 SPLOST, we did some patching on Brittany Lane, Elmig. You'll see the list there. Patching on Almond Church, Bald Rock, McGivney Place, Rocky Plains, Shenandoah Drive, and then we did ditch work on Wehunt Road, and then we also did leveling and drain work on Pickens Road. All of these patching projects are in are things that we do in preparation to resurface roads. The other projects, we're still continuing the project on Riverwalk Farms, repairing those sidewalks where the trees tore up the sidewalks, and then the FFA Camp Checkpoint, which is coming along very nicely and will be completed soon. On the COVID snapshot, we had 10,000 cases. This is as of April 20th at today at 10/19, 646 hospitalizations, 233 deaths. And as Brian mentioned just a few minutes ago, next slide, please. We did open the Mass Vaccination Center at GPTC in conjunction with the Gwinnett Rockdale Newton Health District. And we've got the participation of our local EMA as well as local health department and numerous others. This photo is from left to right. This Dr. Holstein, I believe, is gentleman's name. And of course, I'm sorry, Holston. Okay. And then Commissioner or Chairman Baines, Dr. Arona, and Dr. Clark, who's with the GPTC. Very successful opening. We put it together pretty quickly. Actually, it took us about 30 days, I think, from start to finish on this. Once the health department gave the okay that they were ready for us to jump in and help them, it took about 30 days to get that set up. So it's a wonderful thing. And any expenses that we have on this center are being paid for through a FEMA grant that our emergency management agency applied for. So any of the building rent or any of the supplies, all of that are being paid for through FEMA. So we encourage everybody who hasn't registered to get their vaccination to please go ahead and do so, so that obviously the quicker we get people vaccinated, I think the safer we'll all be. So thank you, and that's all I have this afternoon, Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Henderson.
Chairman, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lord, how many people in the county have actually got that vaccination? Because I know that you don't have to live in the county in order to get a vaccination in Newton County. Because, you know, I didn't live in Monticello in order to go to Monticello and get my shots. So how many people have actually used that facility? Or do we have an idea or an estimate?
I have not seen that statistic. I don't believe we have that statistic yet. It's just not available to us yet.
Thank you, sir. That's everything?
Yes, sir. That's everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, item number 8, we do have old business. Discussion, consideration of lease agreement with Snappy Shows and Fairview Park Lighting. Mr. Kerr.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you'll recall, at our last meeting, we had this agreement between the county and Snapping Shoals was presented, but there was we needed to have some further legal review. That's been completed, and what you see before you in your side pocket is the updated and revised agreement between Newton County and Snapping Shoals. And so we would, this is for the lighting of the pathway and all in the Fairview Park, and so we'd like to request that the board approve this. Total cost to the county to maintain the lighting for the fees and all would be $456.06 annually.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Sanders.
I move that we approve the contract with Snapping Shoals for the lighting system in Fairview Community Park.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Sanders and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next is the consent agenda. I seek a motion that we approve, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Next is item number 10, our monthly financials. Ms. Brittany.
Good evening. Tonight I will be presenting the March 2021 financials. March is the 9th month of our fiscal year, so the 9th month puts us roughly at 75% of our budget. And I'll start with the general fund revenues. So in March, we brought in $18.1 million in revenues, and that brings us to the total for the year at $72.2 million. We did receive our last large disbursement of property taxes in March, so that pretty much wraps up most of our major revenue sources for the year. So that puts us at roughly 94.8.2%. So that might seem high for 75% of the budget year, but pretty much our revenues will just be our general monthly revenues at this point. This graph shows how our revenues trend for the month, so you can see 18.1 is pretty significant compared to most normal months throughout the fiscal year. And the graph below shows our year-to-date budget versus our year-to-date actual. Our general fund expenditures for the year, for the month of March, we had $5.7 million in expenditures, and our actual year-to-date is 50.8, so that puts us at 66%. So we are trending a little bit low in the expenditures at this point, but April is a 3 payroll month, so that always is a significantly higher month for our expenditures. So this graph up top shows the monthly expenditures for the year, averaging per month. So you can see that most of the time they hold pretty steady. And below is the graph that shows our actuals to budgeted. And this is the general fund totals for the year. So currently we're trending at 21.4 revenues over expenditures, but you will see that decrease as we go through the rest of this year. In our enterprise funds, our water fund, their revenue to date is 7.4 and their expenses to date is 4.8. Our solid waste fund, their revenue to date is 6.4 and their expenses is 3.3. And the Gaithers and Factory Shells Fund, their revenue for the year is 272 and their expenses for the year are 171. And these graphs just show the actuals versus budgeted. And we currently have 2 open SPLOST, the 2011 SPLOST. We have 1.1 left there, and we're wrapping up Station 8, and that should be wrapping up very soon. And then we also have the historic courthouse project left. 2017 SPLOST, we are currently working on several of these projects, and to date, our available revenue is 8.4. And this shows our collections for the collection of the 2017 SPLOST. The last month our collections were 1.3, so we've currently collected 51.3 million, so we are trending about 11 million over what our budgeted collections were. In our impact fee fund, there's currently $3.1 million in our impact fee fund, and that wraps up my presentation, and I'll take any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions, commissioners? Thank you, Ms. Brittany. I think you got item number 11 as well. Budget transfer additional $50,000 to the corners department.
The budget transfer before you is the $50,000 that was voted on by the board on the January 19th meeting to transfer to the coroner's office. So what we're doing with this budget transfer is we're going to recognize an additional $50,000 in our loss collections. Our loss collections have trended a little higher than what we budgeted, so I feel confident that we will have enough money in the loss collections to increase our revenue slightly, and then that has been dispersed throughout her budget. So that puts $15,000 in her small equipment, $17,500 in her general operating supplies, $3,000 in her travel, meals, and lodging, $4,000 in her education and training, $500 in uniforms, and $10,000 in contract labor. Are there any questions about that?
Any Commissioner Henderson?
And thank you for making that money available for our coroner. So how much, with that 50, how much was additional monies that, if there were any, left by the prior coroner?
There was money left by the prior coroner because the prior coroner, our fiscal year starts July, so he was only in office for 50% of the year, and I believe when he left office, there was only 51% of the budget spent, so she came in at right about 50% of the budget.
So about how much money did, since I'm bad with numbers?
The coroner's budget's $107,000, so half of that, which would be what, around 55,
So-
54.
So in total, she have about $100,000 with that additional money that was left, along with this additional 50,000.
Yeah, I would say it's probably a little bit more.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So basically, Brittany, that puts her back into the budget that she's supposed to have for the year because a portion of it was spent previously, well, because the previous coroner was still in office during that time. And you
Well,
said 50,000
she'll
was
only
already
be in
spent.
office for 6 months of the fiscal year.
Right. So that puts her back at, because her annual budget is what, 100?
107.
Oh, so that puts her back in her budget. Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the previous coroner spent 51% of the 2021 coroner's budget.
Correct.
So the 49% was left as of January 1.
Correct.
All right, so what, what is this $50,000 paying for? Go through those one more time for me.
Okay, so I've kind of spaced it out just according to things that are already over budget and then discussions in the meeting in January. So if you do approve these, she's free to move the money around as she needs. But there's 15,000 in small equipment additional. There's 17,500 additional in general operating supplies, 3,000 additional in travel, meals, and lodging, 4,000 additional in education and training, 500 additional in uniforms, and 10,000 additional in contract labor.
Okay, so what we're saying initially, eventually is we were $50,000 short on the budget, the coroner's budget for 2021. That's what we're saying.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Kerr?
I don't understand.
No, this 50,000 was 50,000 that the board voted, is additional dollars that the board voted to give the coroner because she requested $50,000, or she requested money for some office items, and the board decided to give her 50,000 additional dollars. We just had not done the transfer yet, but this is additional money. This is money in addition to her budget, to the coroner's office budget.
All right, my next question would be, I thought we had a cooler that did not work. Is that addressed in there?
The cooler repair could be part of the small equipment if she wishes to use it for
And
that.
how much was that again?
I put 15,000 in small equipment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Cowell?
Thank you, sir. And we also, she mentioned that there was a mold problem over there, and I have personally witnessed that myself. There is a mold problem down there. Is there any money for remediation of that mold problem? Out of this, I mean, when she was making her presentation, that was part of what she had said was a problem there, and as along with the cooler system. So those are county buildings that we've got in a position that they're not able to use. So my understanding, or I made the motion for that, was some of that money would be allocated toward getting those problems remediated.
There is, pardon me, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Kerr, go ahead, sir.
There is money, we actually had discussed this issue a couple of months ago. There is money available in the capital improvement fund to do the repairs on the building. We got an estimate, and I don't for off the top of my head how much that estimate was to get that done, but those have to be coordinated with the sheriff's office because the jail and the morgue are actually under the sheriff's authority, but we do have money to do that and indicated and have committed to doing those repairs.
Thank you, Commissioner Henderson, and then Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, when we looked at it, it was in such disrepair that it had never been used in years and years. Because the prior coroner, he used his funeral home, if I'm not mistaken, to a certain degree. And so when we got a new coroner, we had to have somewhere for her to run out of, have the bodies and stuff. And when we looked at the pictures, I didn't go down personally. There was a nasty, filthy place that I would hope that in my past and my family wouldn't put me there. So what we were trying to do, and Commissioner Cowan kind of led the charge, was trying to get something available for her to use as being the coroner. I asked the county manager if he would somewhat, to some degree, oversee it and make sure, but it kind of went, in my opinion, this is me talking, went south. And so we were just trying to get it up and running, just trying to get someplace where she can house some of the bodies and possibly do autopsy or whatever she needs to do until we can figure out a place or a building that she can use as her official or coroner's office.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Lloyd, you mentioned the capital improvements. So the capital improvement amount of money, the capital improvements funding that you're referring to will take care of that mold and mildew in the morgue. And I think she also mentioned the temperature gauge as well needed to be replaced. So that would, those monies will come for that. And then I think the small equipment would be like for the camera, the laptop,
Right, yes, that's correct.
the cell phone, those things.
And there's some other office things, I think, that she was requesting. We did prepare office space for the coroner in Cousins, in the area where the EMA and Keep Newton Beautiful is located. We renovated an office space, put down new carpeting, we painted. We also did some other minor renovations over there, and it's just whenever she is ready to move, she has to purchase, I think, a few pieces of furniture, but it's ready and available for her to move in whenever, and that was done a week before last.
So have we done a price estimate on what it's going to cost to get the mold and mildew out of the morgue and the temperature gauge yet?
There was an estimate done, and I'm sorry, just for the life of me, I can't recall. It was not terribly expensive. It obviously qualified as a capital expense, but I don't remember what the exact amount was. But that's when we looked at that dollar amount. We looked that we did have some available in the capital improvement to do that.
Okay, great. So we'll get an update on that.
Yeah,
once we get that done.
we've got to coordinate that with the facilities folks for the sheriff's office, because you get, to have access and so forth. So,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Guys, let's take a motion, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Mason. Any more discussion?
I've got a question.
Commissioner Cowan.
The $50,000 that we allocated to that, is that going to go back to reimburse the capital improvement fund for the money that you've taken out of there to rehabilitate the?
we certainly can, yes.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? It passes 4-1. Thank you.
Do you want to?
Yeah, 7:30. God, it is 7:30. It's time for us to go in our zoning meeting tonight. I'm going to ask Ms. Applewhite if she would please come at this time. Thank you, ma'am, for being here tonight.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. We initially had one rezoning case scheduled for this evening. It is REZ 20-000011, located at 2001 Dogwood Drive, and the applicant is the Native Development Group, represented by Attorney Nathan Pete Hendricks. In this case, the applicant has requested to table the public hearing for up to 90 days to allow them time to meet with concerned citizens to discuss their concerns, to address the concerns. And the public hearing will be re-advertised by legal ad, written notification to the adjoining property owners, and signage with the new hearing date at least 15 days prior to being heard by the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanders.
It is in District 3.
I move to approve the table of the applicant for the 90 days, am I
90
correct?
yes, ma'am, up to
90
90
days
days.
to be able to speak to the concerned citizens of District 3.
Second it?
Thank you.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Sanders that we table this, and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. It's tabled 5-0. Thank you. That completes our public hearing. We're going to go back up to finance. Finance, item number 12. Approval of P-card application. Good guy. Yes, ma'am.
Finance received a purchase card application from Coroner Dorothea Bailey Butts for a monthly limit of $5,000, and there is an OCGA as well as a county ordinance that does require any elected official's P card to be voted on by the board in a public meeting. So I will leave any additional questions about the need for the P card up to the coroner. But if you have any questions about the limits or anything, I'd be happy to answer those.
Thank you. Any questions, commissioners? Any questions? Commissioner Edwards.
Yes, so Brittany, what's the, most of our constitutional officers and elected countywide officials have, most of them have a $5,000 P card limit. Is that what it is?
They vary. Your constitutional officers, most of them have 5,000. Your DA does have a P card, but he did request a smaller limit. But 5,000 is pretty standard for your department heads.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any more questions? Commissioner Henderson.
Here we go. Thank you. Could you just give us a list of who all have P card and what's the amount, if you would, please?
I emailed a list after the last meeting, but I have a copy here, but I'll be happy to email that list again. Okay. Do you want to look at it?
Guys, let me say this. This is a public meeting. We don't make outbursts. We don't make loud comments in the meeting. I ask you if you would, please, ma'am, please, sir, refrain from doing that. Thank you. Please.
You want me? Okay. There's several, so it'll take a few minutes. Animal Control, Cynthia Wyman, the department head, has a P card. Her monthly limit is $1,000. The BOC, Waka Hughes, has a P card. Her monthly limit is $1,500. BOC, Latanya Hamp, has a P card. Her monthly limit is $1,500. BOC, Marcelo Baines, his monthly limit is $20,000. Cornish Creek, James Brown, his monthly limit is $5,000. Cornish Creek, Sanquinish Rockmore, her monthly limit is $2,500. DA's office, Leslie Smith, her monthly limit is $5,000. DA's office, Christine McDonald, her monthly limit is $1,500. DA's office, Randy McGinley, his monthly limit is $1,500. EMA, Jody Nolan, his monthly limit is $1,500. EMA, Wendy Peacock, her monthly limit is $5,000. Facilities, Jason Johnson, his monthly limit is $5,000. Finance, Newton County Financial Admin, and that's under my name. The monthly limit is $5,000. Finance Purchasing Coordinator, Randy Fincher, that monthly limit is $20,000. Fire Services, Bradley Stapp, his monthly limit is $5,000. Fire Services, Michael Connor, his monthly limit is $5,000. Fire Services, Billy McCullough, his monthly limit is $1,500. Human Resources, Amanda Shoemaker, her monthly limit is $5,000. Information Systems, Tim Singley, his monthly limit is $5,000. Juvenile, Sharita Green, her monthly limit is $3,000. Juvenile, Kendra Mayfield, her monthly limit is $4,500. I think since I printed this list, she's actually left, so she no longer has a P card. Juvenile, Janelle Gaines, her monthly limit is $4,500. Keep Newton Beautiful, Lori Riley, her monthly limit is $500. Public Defender, Terry Hall, her monthly limit is $500. Public Works, James Palmer, his monthly limit is $5,000. Recreation Department, Greg Sullivan, his monthly limit is $5,000. Senior Services, Teresa Williams, monthly limit $1,500. Senior Services, Frida Reed, monthly limit $2,000. Sheriff's Office, Training and travel, the monthly limit is $2,000. Sheriff's Office, Bryce Smith, monthly limit $1,000. Sheriff's Office, Billy Lazar, his monthly limit is $2,500. Sheriff's Office, Marty Roberts, monthly limit $5,000. Sheriff's Office, Mike Cook, monthly limit $2,500. Sheriff's Office, Vincent Lovelace, monthly limit $500. Sheriff's Office, Brandon Eskew, monthly limit $1,000. Sheriff's Office, Jerry Carter, monthly limit $2,000. Sheriff's Office, Sammy Banks, monthly limit $2,500. Sheriff's Office, Jack Redlinger, monthly limit $500. Sheriff's Office, Amanda Peters, monthly limit $1,000. Sheriff's Office, Keith Crum, monthly limit $1,000. Sheriff's Office, William Bowman, monthly limit $500. Sheriff's Office, Donnie Granger, monthly limit $500. Sheriff's Office, Demetia Howard, monthly limit $500. Sheriff's Office, Terrace Spring, monthly limit $500. Sheriff's Office, Selena Williams, monthly limit $1,000. Sheriff's Office, Richard Howard, monthly limit $1,000. Sheriff's Office, Ari Gerhave, monthly limit $1,000. Superior Court, Kathy Kitchens, monthly limit $2,500. Tax Commissioner Marcus Jordan, monthly limit $5,000.
Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brittany, just so we're clear, when the user of a P card uses that P card, it's coded in a way, it flows through the system where it's deducted from their budget, whatever that item might be, right?
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Sanders.
I just wanted to expound on, well, not expound, to get clarity of what Commissioner Edwards said. So the P card is a credit card, correct?
Correct.
And it's the amount they use deducted from the budget, the department that they're in?
Yeah, it's really no different than sending up an invoice. So when we pay an invoice, we code it to their department. When we pay a P card transaction, it's coded to their department.
So is that amount a part, like we're doing the budget now, is that amount a part of the budget that we're including, or it's addition to?
It's part of the budget already. So just because that limit's there doesn't mean that's necessarily what they spend monthly.
What does it fall, what line does it fall up under?
It depends what they purchase.
Okay.
So if you bought, if you went and bought a printer, small equipment, if you went and bought paper, office supplies, just depends what the purchase is.
Thank you.
Thank you. I seek a motion, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Sanders. Any more discussion? Commissioner Cowell.
Well, I personally don't like P cards. I think they get county people in trouble, and they have historically around DeKalb County, Atlanta, and places like that. So I've always been reluctant to do anything with those. But it sounds like everybody in the county's got a P card. I'm like, wow. So, wow, I do understand the efficiency of them, so that's just my comment.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Pass 5-0. Thank you. Oh, you didn't vote? I thought you. Okay. Well, let me call for that vote again. All in favor? All opposed? Got to make a decision, sir. So, okay, it passes 4-1. Guys, I'm gonna ask you one more time, guys. We do not make outbursts in a public meeting. Please refrain from doing that. Last time asking. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Fire Service requesting permission to purchase rescue tools, equipment. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm actually going to ask the Fire Chief, Mike Connor, if he would step up and talk to this, speak to this request, please. And Deputy Chief Brad Stapp is also with him.
Technically, this is equipment for the 2 new engines we just got. This is the rescue tools for patient extrication from vehicles.
Chief, can you speak up, please? They're having trouble hearing you.
But it's for rescue tools. I might have to get Chief Stapp. I know that he's the one who ordered them, but what it actually in details, but it's the extrication equipment for the 2 engines that were just delivered last month. I don't know what it all in detail, Brad.
These tools are basically replacement for some tools that, the last extrication tools we've really purchased, probably 15 years old. These were just new tools to replace an exhausted fleet, basically, to go with these new apparatus and new stations that we're opening.
Thank you, sir. Guys, let's seek a motion, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Commissioner Sanders.
I just want to know if this is budgeted, it's in the budget, Lord?
Yes, it is. It's in their budget.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Next is item number 14, purchase and finance approval of agreement of postage machines for the administration building and 2 for the Judicial Center. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item is to approve an agreement for postage machines over at the Judicial, well, 2 places. We have a machine located at the administration building in the mailroom there, and also one at the Judicial Center. The cost of each machine per quarter is $115.50 or 15 cents, and it is a budgeted. This also is a budgeted item.
Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, please. Seek a motion, please.
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0. Thank you. Next on the agenda is citizen comments. This is an opportunity that we let citizens come up and make comments about any topic. You may come at this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
Good afternoon. My name is
Good
Thelma
afternoon.
Starnala. I live at 3163 Stormont Street. I want to talk about taxes tonight. We had a man come in our community almost 30 years ago, purchased a whole lot of land, and built an empire. But the saddest part about it, I don't mean to speak ill of the dead, but he never paid no taxes. And all these years, we've been blind, but now we see. We've been struggling because we've been all bent over from paying everybody else's taxes. So it doesn't matter what color you are, whether you Democrat or Republican. Everybody should pay taxes in this county. And you know, it's sad when the Fed from Washington, D.C. have to come down here and bust you for payroll taxes, and we find out you ain't paying no county, no city, no stormwater taxes. And then we got a tax commissioner. They bust him on Wednesday, and she resigned on Thursday. So who's going to be held accountable for why we not talking about taxes? Last year they skyrocketed. Don't know what they are this year. But I'm just a little fed up with folks coming to our community, buying land, not paying taxes, and then people keep coming that want to buy land and not pay taxes. So, you know, it's time out for playing games. Do y'all pay taxes? So if we pay taxes, why don't everybody have to pay them? You know, it's sad we live in a world where certain folks can get away with certain things and certain folks can go to jail. If I didn't pay my taxes, I have a lien on them. They're auctioning off my property. So why don't we all be treated as one? Because God don't look at us as color. He look at us that he made us all equal. Whether we men's or women's, we are all supposed to be created equal. So somebody need to investigate some taxes, because this is getting ridiculous. We always holler about we broke because everybody ain't paying taxes. So if we start paying taxes, maybe we can have some money, we can do something for a change. Thank y'all.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Good evening, Commissioners,
Good
County
evening.
Manager, and so on. My name is Susan Jackson. I live at 110 Wisteria Boulevard. I am concerned regarding the budget. I had the privilege and honor of being here during the budget retreat, and as I sat and watched all the department heads come in and literally just give a budget, I'm not completely aware of all the intricacies of these departments, but one thing impressed me when Judge Branch that came in for the juvenile court, she came in and she cut her budget by $48,000. What she reminded me of and what she kind of symbolized was a single mother like myself in the midst of a pandemic, knowing that she had to cut a budget, like click coupons like I have to do, look for sales, look for the buy one, get one free. Just like Mr. Cohen said, I kind of feel that our budget is a little fat. I think every line of that budget needs to be looked at, and especially with the Board of Commissioners budget. Where are you traveling in the midst of a pandemic? There's some professional training that I need, but I have to consider we're in a pandemic. I'm going to have to do it by Zoom. I think there's some things that need to be cut. Overall, I think our budget needs to be cut by 20%. I think there's some things that we need to cut. We need to look at line for line, precept upon precept. That budget needs to be looked at, and there's some things that need to be cut. One of the things that you mentioned as I sat here and listened to the animal control mentioned that they need a surgical room that was going to cost $100,000. They also asked for a new vehicle at the time, and Mr. Kerr said that he was going to get $50,000 from the capital expenditure. And I'm saying, really? There's some things I need to get my house painted. I need to get some things, but I just can't get it at this time because I don't know what the future holds. We don't even know what the tax digest may be. So I'm saying as a whole, as a Board of Commissioners, you need to take a look at that budget, line upon line, cut everything that you can, okay? Because that's what we're doing as citizens in the midst of a pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Commissioners, my name is Alicia Brown, 25 Rockwood Court, Covington, Georgia, 316. I just want to stress, if I may, going over the budget. I can't stress it enough. Line by line, what is the big deal? What's the resistance in doing it? If it takes a week, 2 weeks, we are worth that. All the citizens, your kids, uncles, aunts, your families are worth that. We all live here. What's the rush? What are you scared of? That makes us, we're claiming to be transparent. I just don't see that. I think some things are transparent, and I still think they're not transparent enough. What is the resistance that we're getting so that we cannot do the budget line by line? What is the resistance? What's the problem? What do you have to hide? That's what we automatically think. You know what I'm saying? When you think that, flip the script. If there was something that made so much sense to do, and someone was absolutely opposed to doing it, wouldn't you think like we think? What is the problem? Why the resistance? What's going on here? What's behind that? Seriously. So, are we asking that y'all do the right thing? Go over the budget, take the time. Go in a retreat. Go missing for a week or two. Go through the budget. Go through it. That's it. That's what I'm asking. Please go through the budget, line by line. We deserve that. It's been this way for so long, and it's not fair. It's not right. What goes around comes around. Know that. And God is watching y'all. He watching me too. He watching us all. Know that. Please know that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
My name's Donna Lindsay. I'm at 140 Glen Isle Drive, Covington. And I won't completely repeat everything because I'm on time. I completely agree with everything that's been said by the last two people about the budgets. But in addition to that, and the concern about P cards, which I'm with you on, I completely disagree with them. I think they should have lower limits. Things should be submitted through an accounting department to be paid. But in light of that, P cards are supposed to be 100% public record. So we are allowed to request copies of those P cards from the county, and they're supposed to be completely open. Rather than a bunch of different citizens requesting particular people's P cards and overworking the person in that department, wouldn't it make more sense to just make everybody's P cards expensed available on an internet basis where we could just log on and see them at will when we want? I personally think that would save Brittany a lot of time if we could, she'd probably be appreciative. If we had that already available and we didn't have to constantly want to log in or request copies. And then if there's more than one citizen's requesting it, she's having to do it multiple times. So in light of everything being transparent, that's something I as a citizen would really like to see. And I don't think I can ask a question, but one of my concerns is when the county agrees to spend money, when the citizens don't get to participate in the vote. An expenditure was just made that I personally might have been in favor for, but I wasn't aware that it was even coming up. And I love the parks. I spend hours at the parks every day. I walk 5 or 6 days a week. But something was just done that I'm just wondering how much use we'll actually get. And I'm curious to know if that came up before the board and if it was voted on, if the constituents get any choice in these matters when those things are approved. So like everybody else, I think we need to be looking line by line at budget items to see where we can be cutting corners.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thomas Butler, 650 Fleet Drive. You know, I thought she's going to name over a half the county that got P cards. I ain't got one. You got one? She didn't name you? She didn't name you. Didn't say how much you was getting. Kerr, how much was his? She didn't name you either. You don't have one? It's because you don't want it. But you know, well, Bain does.
Hey, come on, come on.
And I didn't hear her mention Ezel. How much is his? Why y'all keeping all this secret? What is yours? You won't say. What was Ezel's? I don't know. She named everybody else. Half the county.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Commissioner Cowan. You have anything? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I would be in favor of making, as a part of public record, everybody who has a P card public, with the exception of the office of the sheriff.
Oh, no.
Because you wouldn't want to know exactly,
No, sir.
maybe an investigation going on and they need special equipment or special stuff to let the people, the bad guys, know exactly what they're doing. But I think anybody else, it should be public. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Sanders.
I want to thank the citizens that actually spoke about the budget, because like I stated, I'm really in favor of doing the line by line. I'm glad they actually stated that, because this is a huge responsibility, a lot of money that we're managing, and that line by line is going to help us to be error-free. So I agree with that.
Commissioner, thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Talking about the budget, I think it's an excellent idea to go line by line. What I do want to encourage the citizens to do is that you elected a district commissioner. Utilize that district commissioner. Contact that district commissioner. If you have a question about anything, whether it's a budget, no matter what it is, contact that particular commissioner. Have those questions, have those conversations with that commissioner directly. I believe that sometimes if you can have a whole lot of additional comments when you elected someone to be your voice, you elected someone to represent you directly. So go to that commissioner and ask those questions. And once they answer those questions, that commissioner can bring those comments back to this particular board. I don't think that this board wants to hide anything. I don't see that. I believe every single commissioner up here has basically reviewed the budget. They have gone line by line. They've looked at that total budget themselves. So they know what's within that budget. And so I think it would be a great idea for those commissioners, all of us, to actually share that with our constituents. If our constituents have issues with that, then let's address that with your specific commissioner, because they are your voice. And so I don't want us to get into a big debacle or think that this particular board is trying to hide something. I don't believe that, and I think all of my fellow commissioners would agree. I don't think they're trying to hide anything. But I know we, on the back end, we're going to go line by line. When we were here last week, every single department that came before us, I specifically sat here and went line by line, every department. If there was something questionable in that particular budget that I felt like needed to be asked, I asked that question at that particular time. When they came before me to present that budget, I asked that question. And so anything that's questionable, I believe I want our citizens to have the faith in the person that was elected. Have that faith in them that they're going to be your voice and that they're going to answer any questions that you may have. Now, drama, no. Don't get into drama. Don't get into negativity. Don't start a whole bunch of drama. Let's be positive. We say we want to be positive. Let's make positive impacts. Let's not look at the negative all the time. Let's look at positive. Let's be optimistic versus pessimistic. I think sometimes we can get into so focused on the negative until we miss the positive things that's going on in this community. We miss the positivity of the great things that's going on in this community because we focus on the negativity. Let's stop focusing on negativity. Let's stop focusing on drama. Let's stop focusing on he said and she said and they said and we said and who did this and they did this and they did that. Let's cut that out. Let's let's come together and lock arms and help each other and not drag each other down. Let's help each other and not talk about each other or dog each other out. Let's be positive and let's make positive impact within the community. We are going somewhere. Newton County is moving in a positive direction. And so I want to keep that momentum up of going in the positive direction versus going backward. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir.
You know how to take all my time today.
Commissioner Edwards, wow.
Can I, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I get an amen? I want to echo what my District 2 Commissioner had to say. My constituents elect me to ensure that I go line by line on this budget. Last week, we did just that. And I was not able to attend all those sessions for the full time anyway, but I did have the budget that I took home, and I have been over that budget more than once, line by line. So my constituents in District 1 elect me to do that for them. They trust me to do that for them. So, and that's what I try to do. And I learned on a slightly different note, I learned a very valuable lesson in my first budget. Several of y'all will remember that I took a hardline stance. The budget was here. I took a hardline stance. I wanted it here. I took a hardline stance and made no effort to move everybody else closer to where I was, and I made no effort to move up. So instead, I got a budget that was way up here that I really didn't like. Instead of one, maybe I could have compromised and got everyone to move a little and made things a little better for my constituents in the whole county. Instead, my stubbornness and my hard-headedness cost my constituents more tax dollars. So I think it's very important for us to understand what my District 2 Commissioner said is our teamwork and our positive attitude and moving forward is going to be very important, especially for this budget. Now, I don't know if I'll vote for this budget. I don't know that. But I'm going to try my best to get it to a point or work with my fellow commissioners to get it to a point to where everyone can live with it. And the constituents in District 1 don't have to pay a price for my hard-headedness again. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, thank you. No executive session. I seek a motion that we adjourn. It was motion by Commissioner Edwards, second by Commissioner Mason. All in favor? We stand adjourned. Thank you, guys.